Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending, a project that uses some of the most advanced AI out there to visualize one of humanity's oldest, most sacred texts, the Bhagavad Gita. This is all about how brand new technology is giving us a way to see an ancient epic like never before.
But seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. When an ancient text describes a war that's so massive, it literally involves gods and cosmic weapons. How do you even begin to wrap your head around that? What does that even look like? It's a puzzle, one that artists and scholars have been trying to solve for centuries. But what if we could actually teach a machine to read the text and then show us?
So, first things first, we have to understand the core challenge here, and that's the battlefield itself. We're talking about an unimaginable scale. This is Kurukshetra, a place where it's not just armies clashing, it's entire destinies colliding.
This quote from the researchers who worked on this project really just hits the nail on the head. When they use a word like cataclysmic, believe me, they mean it. You have to imagine millions of warriors, actual gods intervening in the fight, and weapons that seem to just rewrite the laws of physics. So how do you start to map that out visually? It's clear you're going to need a whole new kind of tool. So what exactly is Kurukshetra? Well, on the surface, it's the legendary battlefield from the epic, the Mahabharata. But it's so much more than that. It's the stage for the Bhagavad Gita, this incredibly profound conversation between Prince Arjuna and the god Krishna. Just try to picture it, two massive armies ready to tear each other apart. And right there, in the middle of it all, this world-changing dialogue about life and duty is happening. So the big question is, how on earth do you connect ancient Sanskrit poetry with modern machine learning? It sounds kind of impossible, right? But this project builds this absolutely fascinating bridge between these two completely different worlds. Let's get into how they pulled it off. This slide really breaks down the whole challenge. Over on the left, you've got the ancient source material. Sanskrit metaphysics, that's the big, deep philosophy about reality and the divine. And the Vedic descriptions, that's the poetic, often really abstract way these ideas are written down. Then, on the right, you have the modern tools. The whole trick is figuring out how to translate those ancient, abstract ideas into a language the AI gets, turning pure philosophy into hard visual data. Okay, now for the process. The researchers have this amazing name for it, decoding cosmic geometry. I know, it sounds pretty intense, but it's really about mapping something that's, well, unmappable. It's about taking the spiritual and philosophical layout of the battlefield, not just how many miles wide it is, and turning that into a structured format that an AI can actually work with. So it all boils down to these four main steps. First, you have to feed the AI. You give it the original Sanskrit texts and just let it soak up all that language and poetry. Then you get to the really tricky part, translating abstract ideas, like the sacred layout of the armies or what divine power looks like, into data points. After that, the AI gets trained on all that data, basically learning the rules and the physics of this ancient world. And then the magic happens. In the final step, the AI starts creating the visuals, basically painting a picture from its own deep reading of the text. So what does the AI actually create? What does it look like? This is where it all pays off. The results aren't just pretty pictures. They're data-driven reconstructions of ideas that until now have pretty much only existed in our imaginations. Okay. Just look at this. This is a rendering of the celestial chariots, or vimanas. The original text described them with this beautiful, flowing, poetic language. The AI takes those abstract descriptions and generates this, a stunning visual that shows us what these divine machines might have looked like, just hovering over the armies of mortals. This is where you really see the power of this tech, making the mythic feel almost real. And then you have the weapons. We're not talking about simple swords and arrows here. The Gita describes astras, and these are more than just physical objects. They're cosmic forces that can mess with your mind or even reality itself. So how do you even begin to draw something like that? The AI tackles it by creating images that capture that otherworldly power, visualizing energy and impact in ways that are just incredibly difficult for a human to even conceive of. Okay, so this is all visually incredible, no doubt. But what's the bigger picture? Why does a project like this actually matter beyond just making some cool images? Well, it's because it offers us a completely new lens for looking at these ancient stories, and maybe even our own history. So why is this such a big deal?
Well, for starters, it gives us a brand new way to engage with these texts. We can move from just reading the words to actually experiencing the world they describe. It charts that unseen cosmic geometry we were talking about, the whole spiritual and physical map of a sacred space. And it helps us see that meeting point between mythology and military history. This isn't just art, and it's not just science. It's a powerful new way of understanding.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. We're using our most futuristic technology to look back, to see our most ancient stories with a clarity we've never had before. So if this is what AI can show us about our past, what is it going to reveal about where we're all headed? What other unseen worlds, from history or from our own imaginations, are we going to be able to map out and explore next? That's definitely something to think about.